No smoke, no smoke.
What's up? Welcome to All Gas, No Smoke. This is a topic that I probably wanted to talk about for a week now, but I had to work through a couple of technical difficulties, but we are back. So as we know, we did get the surprise release of the sixth studio album from Kendrick Lamar titled GNX. GNX is an album named after a car. This is an automotive channel, so of course we're going to talk about it. The GNX is one of my favorite cars of all time, and probably the highest example of G-body performance that you were going to see in the 70s and the 80s. So let's talk about the history and a few things about the Grand National here. So before we had the Grand National, we did get the release of the Buick Regal Sport Coupe in 1978. The Sport Coupe was released as a turbocharged V6, coming with a 4-barrel or 2-barrel carburetor, pushing that to 150 to 165 horsepower. We didn't get the Grand National trim until 1982, where it was released because Buick won the NASCAR Manufacturers Cup 2 years in a row, both in 1981 and 1982. So obviously they wanted to take advantage of that. The reason why the car was named the Grand National is because it was named after the NASCAR Winston Cup Grand National Series. Whereas today we have the Truck Series, the Xfinity Series, and the Cup Series. Back in the 70s and the 80s, they had the Winston Cup Grand National Series. So those first examples in 1982 of the Grand National, they were naturally aspirated. So it was not the turbocharged V6 that we think of today. So that naturally aspirated V6 was pushing 125 horsepower. In 1983, GM did remove the Grand National as a trim option for the Buick Regal, just to kind of go back to the drawing board and work on a few things, and replaced it, if you want to say, for that one model year with the Sport Coupe, which was renamed as the T-Type. In 1984, the Grand National did return as a turbocharged V6 and also came with fuel injection. With those modifications and those upgrades, the Grand National was now pushing 200 horsepower. And one of my favorite things about the return in 1984 of the Grand National is you could get this car in any color you wanted as long as it was black. In 1985, the car relatively stayed the same, but we did get slight modification in 1986 with the air-to-air intercooler and also very little engine upgrades, pushing the now 200 horsepower to now 235 horsepower. 1987 is an important year because that is when we get the GNX trim level, and it's also the last model year for the Grand National. So the GNX, trim level only had 547 units. One of the reasons why this car is so special is because McLaren tweaked the engine on this car. The same McLaren that makes cars like the F1, the P1, the Senna, is known for its extensive history in Formula One racing. That same McLaren put hands on this car. So in 1987, the GNX received upgrades such as a Garrett turbo, a larger intercooler, low restriction exhaust, a reprogrammed transmission, exterior styling, and a boost gauge, and also 16-inch wheels. All of these upgrades pushed the GNX from 235 horsepower to now 300 horsepower. But why is this car so special? You know, it looks like a granddad car. You know, yes, it was quick, but how quick was it? So it was quicker than GM's flagship cars at the time, which were the Corvette and the Camaro. And then not just the muscle cars, but it was also dragging the supercars of the day. So it was faster in the quarter than the Lamborghini Countach, the Ferrari F40, and the Porsche 930. It was dragging all of these cars in the quarter mile. So this turbocharged V6 essentially in the 80s took the automotive world by storm that nobody was expecting. So I just always thought the Grand National was a very important car, especially in American car history and also car history in general, just because back in those days, you didn't hear about GM or Ford or Mopar or anything like that experimenting with turbocharging. So it's always been an interesting car, and always had my attention, and I love this car ever since I found out about it. But if any of you guys have any stories or anything like that with a Buick Regal or a Grand National or a T-Type or Regal Sport Coupe, please let me know down in the comments below. Or if you have any videos or anything, please share those down in the comments below. But please like, comment, and subscribe. I'm out.